Welcome to Phuket in Focus, and here we are again talking about this week's The Phuket News. We have the Managing Editor, Simon Ostheimer. Thank you for coming to our vast studio again.
Gets bigger every week, Tim.
It gets bigger and bigger. Oh, the budget's getting better and better. Thank you very much to Radenska Water, by the way, for helping us with our water. Now, drama on the high seas is the headline, and this must have been a bit of a dramatic time for the 100 passengers.
Yeah, it was. So it was a ferry on its way back from PP to Phuket town, to Rastadar Pier, about halfway across the ocean, and then the captain discovered there was a leak in the bottom of the boat and that it was sinking.
What to do?
Yeah, he kept a calm head though, and headed for the nearest landmass, very small island, and actually took the craft onto the rocks. And then the passengers were eventually taken off by a marine police boat.
Yeah. What I find interesting, though, is in the follow-up to this, is that the owners of the boat said it wasn't our fault, it was the weather's fault. I mean, this is a big boat that could surely cope with any weather.
Well, it's not a huge boat, and that was one of the questions asked, whether these boats are suitable, especially in the wet season.
That's a big boat.
Yeah, but the way that they're built is almost better designed for sort of a lake or a calm ocean. So when it's high season, when the waters are smooth, there's no issue. But as soon as the waves are getting higher than a few meters, maybe these aren't capable of doing that. Interestingly, another ferry came to help rescue the passengers, and he picked them up, took them to PP because he was going there anyway, brought them back, and he said actually the waves were fine. It was no problem. So.
Suspect we'll see more of the story.
Yeah, well, it's an investigation to see the exact cause. I mean, is
fingers
it
pointing.
Yeah, was it nature? Was it the boat's construction itself?
Yeah.
Was it maintenance? So we'll find out. But thankfully, no one injured, no one dead.
Certainly the main thing. And we move on, and we've had another ambassador come to the island complaining about problems with their country people coming to Phuket and problems. This time it's the Chinese ambassador.
Yep. He had some very strong words to say.
The language was very strong, I thought.
Yeah, particularly coming from a Chinese ambassador, and they're normally very,
demure.
Yes, they don't like to make overly strong statements. Yeah, diplomatic was the word I was looking for, but no, he had very harsh criticisms of the way Chinese tourists are treated, also cheated, accused some officials of being corrupt. A lot of harsh words for the local government to listen to.
Well, he's got the backing of 1.4 billion people, so certainly I would be recommending that the officials listen to his words.
Well, he's just one in the long line of country ambassadors to be basically saying the same thing. It's one after the other.
Tuk-tuks, the jet skis, the transport, all the same issues.
All the same issues. The only thing now is that it's affecting Chinese people, so that's why he's stepped in.
Yeah. And, it seems that he's, I suppose, backing the right horse here, because the Chinese tourists are really taking the lead now, and I would say next year they would be filling the vast proportion of the hotels on the island. Yeah,
I mean, along with Koreans and Russians, but definitely sort of Australians, Europeans now, you're not seeing quite as many numbers, but it was only a matter of time before we start to hear from, I think, the Korean ambassador, the Russian ambassador.
I was reading figures the other day that said that Chinese tourists to Thailand the last 12 months has doubled since the year before.
Yeah. And
that would be represented on the island as well. So I think, some of these tour operators and the officials are going to have to start listening to these ambassadors at some stage.
I think it would be a matter of when tourism, perhaps you start to see a fall in the numbers arriving.
Yeah.
Or there's something that's going to affect the money that's flowing into the island.
Because the numbers keep going up.
Once it hits the pocket,
then
they'll take action.
Yeah. Well, the Australian ambassador may have had a busy week too.
Yeah. Well, this is to do with the story. A couple of Australian tourists, the first night on the island, did the same thing as many do. Got the taxi straight from the airport to Patong, went out, hit the bars, got themselves into a bit of trouble.
Hit the bars is the right word,
Hit the bars, yeah. Basically got into a huge bar fight, ended up bruised and bloodied and sent to hospital. From all accounts, they actually started it. They were just being very aggressive, throwing their weight around, and other people in the bar just had enough, and they took their vengeance.
Now, the headline says, "Berserker Aussies suffer rough justice." It's times like this when my half New Zealand, half Australian heritage becomes more New Zealand than Australian, but these bogan tourists that come to the island just misbehave. Sometimes they end up with the justice they deserve.
Yeah.
Why did you blank out the other faces on the photo?
Well, it's just a matter of obviously their privacy.
But it doesn't affect Thai people when their photos are taken, and we got them paraded in front of the press.
This is true. This is actually a photo that was supplied to us, and it was already in this state. So it was one of our sources. So
Okay.
it's the picture that we had to run with.
It looks like they were pretty messed up anyway, so probably be a bit gory. One thing that the tourists coming to the island will have are lifeguards at the beaches.
Yeah, this is semi-good news. Good news is a 1-month extension has been signed to keep the lifeguards on the beaches, with the promise that after that there'll be a further 11-month contract signed. The promise that will happen is not confirmed, but it's still a very short-sighted perhaps approach to the issue. You know, if you're going to be saving people's lives, you're going to be pursuing a career as a lifeguard, you need to know that you've got job security. A 1-month contract, even a year contract, maybe doesn't cut it.
Now we have some extra tourists on the island this week. Thailand mothers, lock up your daughters. The US Navy's here.
Yeah.
In fact, 6,000 odd sailors, not particularly odd, but maybe a little because they've been at sea for a while. They've landed on the island. They've got 3 days of R&R, and I think I know where they might be headed.
Yeah. Well, it's only 3 days. It's not that much time, and to get that number of people off the boat and back, obviously you need boats to take them to shore, and then from there you need taxis and tuk-tuks.
Now, I'll tell you, we went to film our news, the News Today program, on Tuesday this week, and we went onto the boat with great honour, fantastic. Sash and me went onto the boat to film the News Today, and we were coming. When we arrived there wasn't anybody at the whole car park or waiting area. When we came back, I would say there were a couple of thousand vans and taxis. There were mini cities of tourist goods ready to be sold, and food shops selling all manners of Thai food. It had just grown there in the 3 or 4 hours we were on the boat.
Yep, it's a definite bonanza for the island. The issue has been there's been a disagreement over who has the right to pick up the sailors, you know, the Navy men, and take them into, say, Patong, for instance. And there's a dispute about that, and there's actually a period where they did not have any transport available to them. I mean, it's an ongoing issue, and we touched upon that with the ambassador's comments, the fact that taxis, tuk-tuks seem to be able to do whatever they want on the island. But the issue with this is this affects, you know, the international image of Phuket. It's not just an internal issue. It's embarrassing.
Yes.
So even if there is going to be an arrangement, at least have it fixed in place and stick to it, and not have these, you know, like the international press seeing this kind of thing going on. It's like airing your dirty laundry in public.
Yeah. It was funny during the week watching people's reactions, like all the guys around the office saying, oh, the US Nimitz is here, a great big ship, and it's got planes on it and big bits of machinery, and all the girls going, oh, the guys in the Navy, different reactions.
Yeah.
Everybody's happy, it seems. Now, great story, and recommend people do read this article. It's a guide to tourism chaos. I suppose in some ways it encapsulates a lot of what we've been talking about today.
Yeah, and intertwines a lot of those same issues. Basically, tour guides on the island, there's been a lot of talk about illegal tour guides, you know, so say Russians or Chinese working, leading these tours, which is a Thai-only profession. It's reserved for only Thai nationals. So it kind of looks at the pros and cons, like yes, you know, they are working illegally, but that's because there's a demand for their services. There's not enough Thai people who speak fluent Chinese or speak Russian for that regard.
Yeah, of
so
course.
Who's going to help, you know, lead these tours? So as I say, it takes a balanced approach, but looks at the overall issue and perhaps what some of the solutions may be.
Yeah, great article. Now, Life magazine, of course, is in the middle. It's the second read you've got in the Phuket News each week. Almost a magazine, but not quite. And the head story is Queen of the Sea. Please explain.
Beautiful photo. Stories by Jody Houghton. The photo is not. He's not that of an experienced underwater photographer. As
That's
you can
Jody,
see,
is it? Jody looks a bit different from when I last saw him.
He does, yeah. Gone a transformation. No, it's Katrin Felton. She's German, and she's professional mermaid.
Okay, what do you do as a professional mermaid besides get your photo taken for Life magazine?
Well, you you swim underwater, but there's things like modelling, photo shoots, being an ambassador of the environment, and that's actually something she's taken on as a personal crusade. Obviously, she makes a living from the sea, but attending conferences and things to show the importance of preserving coral and what have you. But the pictures inside are really quite stunning and just a very interesting choice of profession.
And just finally, we're in a bit of a rush at the moment, but you can choose from telling us about choosing your baby's sex, which is fairly close to your heart with all your children, or PADS announces opening of new facility.
Well, I'll go with the first one, as you say, because it kind of relates to all my children, all 2 of them.
Yeah.
Make it sound like I had to have 18 kids and counting.
That you know of.
Yeah, but basically the story, again by Jodie, looking at the ethical questions around choosing the sex of your child. It's to do with IVF, in vitro fertilization. And as part of that process, to help you, have a child, you can actually pre-select whether it's to be male or female. And this is banned in many countries, including India and Australia.
Yes.
But not here.
Yeah.
It's not approved either, but it's not banned on the same. So it kind of looks at
a new type of tourism, choose your baby's sex tourism.
whether, the rights and wrongs about doing that.
Did you, with your 2 children, did you in any way find out before the sex of the child, or
No.
do anything to...
No.
It was all au naturel?
We waited basically until they were born to find out what sex they were, and we told the doctor this from the start. We don't want to know.
Yeah.
So we would go in and do the ultrasounds, and she would say, okay, turn away now. And then she would check to make sure everything was okay.
Yes.
But then not show us the sex of the child. So it was a great surprise. I
But a lot of
encourage everyone
parents
to do that.
do want to know
But
whether
why?
to paint the nursery pink or blue.
But I mean, my thinking behind it is I didn't really want to pre-decide anything for the child until it was out in the open, as it were. So I don't want to pre-decide what their name's going to be, what their character's going to be like, what clothes they're going to wear, what the room's going to look like. Although that can wait, it can come later.
So traditional. Simon Ostheimer, thank you very much. We've got the brand new Phuket News and Life magazine out on the stands at how many locations?
600 plus. Hopefully I'll be able to say 700 plus one of these days.
Fantastic. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Simon Ostheimer on Phuket in Focus. Thanks for joining us.